Hola, bienvenidos. We are here from Bogotá, Colombia. We're going to have our interview from humans from Emapta. We are here with Chris Rose, our Vice President of Emapta Latam and our Colombian Chief. Welcome, Chris.
Yeah, con gusto.
We're going to start the interview. Can you please tell me about your role in Emapta?
Sure thing. So my current role at Emapta is as a country manager, as the Vice President of Emapta Latam, in setting up the organization here. I've been with Emapta now just coming on 6 years. I was originally brought in to help develop the U.S. market. We had very few U.S. clients when I started, and we'd really identified that there could be terrific growth in the U.S. and Canadian markets as well. Since then, we've seen exponential growth in our U.S. clients, and in talking to many of them, started finding a real need for nearshore talent, for bilingual talent, or even for Spanish-speaking talent. In such, we looked at every country from Mexico to Argentina, and Colombia has been wonderful. It absolutely mirrors what we have in the Philippines to many degrees. The people here are very warm, kind-hearted, hardworking, educated, all the attributes that our clients look for and that Emapta looks for in our staff.
Great. Have you always been on the same field? What learnings did you have that you brought with you in your current role?
I've had a few different roles in my career, but I've always been a focus in sales. I was trained in sales right out of university, and have worked on different products. What really led me to Emapta was my last role in working with IBM in their business products division. It was business analytics software, which is about as exciting as it sounds. But with that, I had an inside sales teams, and we had spoken over the years to thousands of companies about trying to get them off of Excel and onto a software solution. And the one thing I learned in that role was that many companies were not going to transition into software, that they were using humans to perform the duties, and that more and more companies were looking offshore to do this. And that is really when I started focusing in on companies like Emapta, learning what these great Australian companies were doing in the Philippines, and confused why it wasn't happening in the United States to a larger degree. So that was really what led me to Emapta.
Great. What's the best thing about your job?
Best thing about my job, look, I'm a people person. I love working with people. Emapta exposes me to different cultures around this world that I'd never been exposed to, and I'm lucky enough to travel to and work directly with the people. We've had excellent teams, not only in the Philippines, now in the countries that we're expanding to. And the second part would really be delivering solutions to clients. I've worked for many companies where you overpromise and underdeliver. Emapta is not an organization like that. Everybody works towards the common goal of providing a solution, and if it's wrong, we correct it. We admit our mistakes, but I really love that sort of the culture and flow of Emapta.
Right. What don't you love about it?
Well, I think I was one of Emapta's only employees not to be in the East Asian time zone. So some of the difficulties in my job when I first started out for my first few years were the constant phone calls late at night with the Philippines. Those were a little trying and tried to get some adjusting to, but maybe that's selfishly why I've set up an office here in Colombia, so I can work in my own time zone.
Do you have someone you consider a mentor?
A mentor, I guess at arriving at Emapta, I've had mentors in my life, but within Emapta when I arrived, Tim was definitely one for my early progression, and then Carl and Roy, my direct leaders or bosses within the company, been fantastic. And then in expanding to Colombia, I found a new range of people within the organization that have been really pivotal in helping me. I speak weekly with Mark Brennan. Miss Ange has been a wonderful help. Miss Jen, countless others have always picked up the phone when I've called and really given me good direction. So organizationally, I find Emapta has been really handy. I don't have one mentor within the organization, but calling a few. It's fantastic.
What do you like doing outside of work?
Outside of work, on the weekends, very much like to, when I have the opportunity, travel. Being here in a new country, it's wonderful. Exploring new places and new cities and new languages and new cultures. It's all been very interesting. I love hiking. I love the outdoors. It's very key for me to be outside every day if I can do it. We're lucky to be here in Bogota, where there's wonderful bike network. I can ride my bike to work. That is a huge boost to me. It's something I love doing.
Great. Yes. And how do you separate work from life?
Sometimes in life it's difficult when you're extremely busy, but I think it's foundationally important that you switch off work. I try very hard on the weekends to stay away from the emails. I think it's important, at least for my brain and my psyche, that there's on and off periods so your brain can recuperate and come back to the business with fresh ideas. So very much when I'm not at work, I try to tune it off and have hours to myself, or at least on the weekends have days to myself if possible.
Okay. So Chris, what is success for you, and do you have some tips for success?
Success for me, I'm a more simple person. I'm not looking for the grandest things in life. Success for me professionally is really providing solutions for clients. A happy client to me is success. As long as you do your job well and the clients are happy and those people that work around you are happy, in time you'll be rewarded for that in every way, I believe. You know, my tips for success are quite simple. I don't read a lot of books on this. I have my own little philosophies, but one of them is making your bed every morning before you get to work. Check one thing off the list, get that done, arrive on time, be friendly, and be open and be helpful.
What can you tell someone starting out at Emapta or interested to work at Emapta?
Say, you know, for me personally, Emapta's been the best company I've ever partnered with in my life. It's a very open and transparent organization, and we're not just paying that lip service. Everything is open from department to department. If you make mistakes, you stick up your hand. People won't scold you. It's just to correct you and learn to do it right. If you have good ideas, you can present them internally. If the idea is good enough, you can take ownership of it and maybe make it potentially grow into something within the organization. And they really provide the framework and the tools for somebody to do that. So if I was a young person looking at Emapta, it's a great company to start your career with, to grow your career with. You have exposure to all these, from small mom and pop accounting firms to very large software and technology companies that you could have the opportunity to work with. And you can not only learn from Emapta's learnings, but from our clients' learnings as well. So I think it's a great place to facilitate growth for the future.
Yes, pues thank you very much for your time for this interview. And
Muy gracias, no problema.
muchas gracias.